Coming off one of the highest highs our Shenandoah Smash Bros. Roster has seen in their careers brings us to today, Tuesday, April 8th, an extended weekend break, and they look to finish their NECC season strong, as this will be the finale no matter what. A third-place match between Shenandoah University and Lebanon Valley College to determine podium or not. Third place on the line, as both of these teams unfortunately went down in their semifinal matches, and that brings us here. Hi everybody, I'm Chris Clayton. This is Kevin Clayton. We're back in our fun little casting booth away from the players, so we get our own time to ourselves to cover what should be a very exciting rematch between these two teams.
Yeah, so that means I could do all the trash talking I want. I could say that
Correct.
Igloo is an amazing player, and he's very good at the video game, along with everyone else on the roster. Oh wait, is it being broadcast out to the main room? My apologies.
No.
Anyway, I am super excited for this run back, Chris, because we're talking about a team that took a round off of Shenandoah the last time we saw them. So now we're going to see as much adaptation as possible, a lot of mind games, and just a whole new level of understanding when it comes to Ultimate.
Yeah, last time these two teams have met twice this season, believe it or not, but one of them was not completed. That, if you remember way back, that was when we were, again, back in this room, and Nintendo servers decided to take a break on us.
Me and my whiteboard.
You're right, Kevin had the whiteboard and gave us a whole explanation on how that happened. But the teams ultimately were able to reschedule that match. It was played right before the end of the regular season, and SU took that series in a very close, nail-biting 2-1 victory to secure the first seed out of their group. So, exciting rematch on our hands, but we can take a look at the schedule we've got going on this week. As we said earlier, right, hopefully you all know today's Tuesday, so that means yesterday we had Street Fighter. Kevin, splitting 1-1. Real quick, how'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. It was a nice back and forth. Two Ken players went 2-3 against one opponent, and then 4-1 against the other. And I hit High Master yesterday, so hey, highs all around. I'm feeling good, but I imagine the rest of the teams are feeling good too, Chris.
Yeah, and we apologize we couldn't bring that to you all last night, but hopefully you were able to at least see. I know Kevin streamed it, or if not, yeah, thank you for the the recap there, but Kevin splits his two matchups 1-1. That brings us to today, the rematch we've mentioned, third place at stake against Lebanon Valley College in Super Smash Bros. Tomorrow we'll have Mossman on his patented Tekken, taking on however many CFGC matchups he can get in that window, and then Thursday we will have another Smash Bros. Series, this one probably the most anticipated of the whole year, against Winthrop, and then Rocket League also is in their NECC Grand Finals against Alvernia, the one team that took a series off of them all year long in NECC. So two very exciting series on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that Winthrop one though, Chris. We're talking the highest level of competition that any of Shenandoah's players have gotten to play against. That is the perfect way to really set yourself in place where you are in Ultimate's general scene. We're talking top 20, top 40 level players who are going to potentially rattle some of the people on the roster, but even so, I do think it'll also reassure them they're not untouchable. You got to a match against the best of the best. Now it's your chance to really use every trick you got and see if you can make some impact. It's going to be great.
Yeah, if any of you were able to tune in on Thursday last week, you saw that insanely exciting finish to that series and got to watch SU punch their ticket to this Winthrop matchup that we've been talking about. And while if you were able to watch the post-game interview, you know that Kip mentioned he's maybe not feeling great about this matchup on Thursday because, like you said, I mean, Winthrop is the #1 seed in this bracket. They're reigning national champions. I mean, there's a lot to be worried about, but they have absolutely earned that opportunity, and if nothing else, to showcase what this team is capable of against some of the best in the country is a awesome opportunity. We do have one of the players standing by who we will see here today outside in the arena with Ben, so we're going to have Ben talk to him a little bit before we get into game. Ben?
Thank you so much, Chris and Kevin. I am standing by with Far Ramis David, our Jigglypuff player here on our SU Varsity Smash Bros team. First things first, to kick it all off, how are you feeling here tonight?
Well, I'm feeling great, and I think our team is as well. We're really going at this with a positive energy, and we're trying to see what we can do in this match going in, because this is a rematch. We did play them before, so we're trying to see like what worked with certain characters. We're trying to see if we can have a different strategy into that, and just see how it turns out.
No, for sure. It's definitely going to be a very close matchup. The first encounter that we had here against Lebanon Valley was a pretty close matchup. I believe it went the distance all 3 sets. So thinking back on what that one looked like, there was a Bowser Jr. that was very strong. I believe there was a Terry, a Kirby, a K-Rool, and a Bowser toss in the mix there as well. Bowser Jr. being that main threat on the side of Lebanon Valley, Chewy Hobo specifically. What does that matchup look like maybe for a Jigglypuff, and kind of what are the thoughts going up against this player again?
Yeah, Chewy Hobie was a very good player, a very good Bowser Jr. And for our strategy a lot is that we're just going to see, well, I mean, I'll answer your question first about Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is not the greatest matchup against Bowser Jr. It's not the best, it's not prior. I believe going into their last time I didn't do the best job that I wanted to, but our strategy is to get the Bowser Jr. out of the way so that we can send, hopefully have our other team do as best as possible in the crew battle.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely some puzzle pieces will be put into play here, trying to get the best matchups that you are going to get. You had a very close series last week as well. It went, I mean, it was William and Mary first that did not go your way, and then I believe it was a last hit against Cleveland State as well that Kip secured for you guys here. But what is the momentum like coming into today after a win against Cleveland State?
Oh, the momentum is very great. We're all very thrilled that we were able to win last game, and just. But we have to just know that we're going into this, like, we have to do as best we can. We've already won against this team before, but we have to just make sure that we don't get it to our heads that we got this for sure. Like, we have to still prepare. Like, it's like we're fighting them for the first time.
No, for sure. Well, hey, good luck. Thank you so much for the interview. I'm going to toss it back to the casters at the desk. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ben. Exciting to hear from Far Rhombus. The team is feeling great, and it's I mean, exactly what you would expect coming off that Thursday game. I mean, that was an experience that really none of us have ever been through in this arena. But, man, yeah, all the momentum in the world on SU shoulders right now.
And it's got to feel good. You can't let it get to your head too much, but you can definitely ride that momentum going into this next crew battle, especially because it is against an opponent that you have played before. I'm hoping to see Shenandoah's players get a little bit more risky, trying to snowball leads, get really aggressive with their decision making. We'll have to see if that is the go-to plan or if it will be a full-on break, stop, give each character the respect they deserve, and maybe try to play around that. There's an argument for both sides.
Yeah, and like we mentioned a week ago today, SU did drop a heartbreaker against William and Mary that then forced them to bounce back against Cleveland State. Like we said, that was in NACE, however. That William and Mary matchup was in NECC, and that brings us to what's on your screen here. How did we get here? Well, SU and Lebanon Valley now competing for the third place spot as Winthrop and William and Mary go at each other in grand finals. So Shenandoah making a heck of a run there, taking a strong series win over Concord, and then, like we said, a last stock, last hit heartbreaker against William and Mary. So Lebanon Valley on the other side, however, taking a equally strong win over Messiah Esports, but then going down to the reigning national champs, like we said. So that brings us to today, and these two teams have some serious statistics behind them. SU with an undefeated regular season in NECC, Lebanon Valley with an almost undefeated regular season, the only loss coming to Shenandoah. And you see that one blemish on the left side of your screen as well in the game records. That one is Lebanon Valley. So these two teams really the only ones to figure each other out so far.
And look at it, Chris. It's insanity to see just how one dropped series or one dropped game can make all the difference. I get that it's playoffs, but man, you have to be so on top of things at this point in the series. And that isn't always doable, especially in a fighting game. There are so many 50-50s that you need to be taking in any given situation. it can really work against you in a lot of aspects, but getting that habit of understanding what you want in any sort of given matchup, maybe, yes, okay, I'm willing to risk at this 50-50, but if I get it right, I get so much more. The risk-reward is where a lot of that value comes in, and hopefully this reward will lead to a third-place finish for SU.
Yeah, you have to think that the last time these two teams played, it was to determine who was the number one seed coming out of their group, right? One of these teams had to be undefeated when they met at the end of last season. It ended up being Shenandoah, and what that game meant was avoiding Winthrop, effectively. It was the loser then had to go into the Winthrop side of the bracket, and that felt like a death sentence, and it ended up being that way for Lebanon Valley. But SU unable to capitalize on that opportunity. They win the series against Lebanon Valley to earn their right to the other side of the bracket and get a theoretically favorable matchup all the way to Winthrop in the finals and come up just short against William and Mary. So both of these teams, unfortunately, not able to get it done in their respective rights, but now Lebanon Valley with an opportunity for revenge. The biggest factor here tonight is we still don't have AJ. Like you saw in that interview, our roster will look the same as it has these last couple weeks here. We have Farombus, Kip, Igloo, and Willie with no Falco to be seen. So relatively predictable day here out of Shenandoah.
Yeah, I do feel like Falco would slot in pretty well up against potentially that Bowser Jr. Don't get me wrong, that player is definitely a menace, but having that reflector against the setups that they had, we saw a lot of Mecha Koopa setups. We saw a couple of those cannonballs just getting in the way, burning double jumps and air dodges just a little earlier than the players would have liked. And yet, even so, we saw Shenandoah path their way, find a way to just get through it all and come out on top. So I am ready for the players to do that once again, but it's not going to be an easy task. We did see Shenandoah go down in the first round when it happened last time, but a couple of good move arounds, swapping which players are dealing with which characters, made all the difference, especially, I believe Kip had a strong run in Series 3, knocking out the first player, and Lebanon Valley waited to send in that Bowser Jr.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things to keep an eye on here today. Like you said, in set 3, the biggest difference maker was Kip ignited and took, I believe, 6 stocks off Lebanon Valley, and I believe the series score was 11-6 at one point. He took 6 stocks with only losing one of his own. So Kip certainly put on a show last time, but it's hard to expect that any type of predictably. But ultimately, another thing is that Farombus did play the last time these two teams met as well. So it's not like we are missing a Falco that we had last time. SU was able to get it done with the Jigglypuff and without this Falco presence. So another thing, set 3 didn't even need the Jigglypuff, as SU opted to put in all 3 of their other players, and they were able to finish it off. Willie, on his last stock, being the 3rd player, ended up taking the 12th stock from Lebanon Valley. So a lot to keep in mind. There's a lot that we can look back to, as, like we've said, this matchup has been played already, and SU came out on top.
Yeah, which brings us to, I want to talk about these characters once again, Chris. We're talking about this Bowser Jr. a lot, but the last time we saw them, there was the Terry player, there was the K-Rool player, who of course I was looking at very, very closely, but it was all good all around, and then there was that Kirby. It's the kind of matchups that you don't expect necessarily going into a crew battle, especially at this level, but especially this Kirby player caused a couple of problems for Kip the last series.
Yeah, it'll be something to keep an eye out for, right, as we load in, and we should be getting into game here soon. I believe the players might be loading into a button check here soon, so that means we're very, very close to getting into the action. But yeah, this Kirby as a character and against Kip's Pac-Man certainly did cause issues, but a lot of them felt less like character issues and just more of maybe being off that day for Kip. I mean, it was sort of personal input errors almost.
And that very well may be, but I don't want to take away from this Kirby player either, because they were catching get-ups on ledge left, right, and center. A bunch of up smashes and down smashes as Kip is recovering to the ledge, whether it's trampoline or the side special. Pac-Man makes it back. Pac-Man holds on to a stock unless you are personally escorting him to the blast zone. And so, losing stocks early on this character who is, in general, just very hard to get rid of, you gotta be aware of that going into this, especially when that does appear to be our starting matchup.
Yeah, we did see the button check, and we have been bit on this in the past, so I won't confirm whether or not that this is the confirmed opening matchup, but it looks like we should be getting Kirby into Pac-Man. So, yeah, big moment here for both of these squads, right? Kip able to slam in set 3 and really run away with the series in the end, but not before really struggling against this Kirby in the previous series, or previous sets, last time these two teams played. So a lot on the line if this is our opening matchup, and I'll confirm that as soon as I'm able to, but it looks like that's where we're headed.
I know we're casting for the Shenandoah side of things, Chris, but I feel like we've seen a lot of spheres the last couple of weeks.
A little bit.
I get that, Shenandoah has 2 on the roster, but the Kirbys now are appearing on the roster. It's just a battle of circles. I know. I'm not that philosopher, dude. I don't care about these circles beyond a certain point.
Yeah, I could list you a couple digits of pi, and that's about as far as I can get. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Farumbus knows more digits of pi than either of us, and he's able to execute. But if we ever see that matchup, we may not ever need to. But Kip as well on a spherical character. I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah, ultimately there's plenty that we can look back to from the last 2 times these teams played. SU took set number 1 off Lebanon Valley. Lebanon Valley bounced back in set number 2, and then ultimately set 3 falls SU's way. Do you think we will see anything that similar, or do you think SU kind of has it figured out now?
I think SU has all the momentum in the world for the Series 1. I do think that Lebanon Valley is good enough for the adaptation going into Series 2, but starting things off, I am expecting Shenandoah to take the initial lead purely off of just the good vibes that they got from Thursday's match. But as we load in, both characters trade an aerial and take a little bit of percent, as Kirby is already playing a little aggressive, and that is how they got so much last time around. But Kip is making a point to sit back once again, not let this Kirby player go for anything too crazy.
Yeah, like we said, I can't confidently confirm this, but I do want to say that although we said that this Kirby really gave Kip issues, I believe every time they played, Kip still came out on top. It was just a matter of losing 2 stocks along the way that we weren't expecting him to lose. It's that kind of struggling, but ultimately still coming out on top. So now, as we are cresting a minute mark into this game, Kip taking full control so far, finding this Kirby player all the way up to 100%. Their in-game name is Chewy Hobo. I don't believe that's Chewy Hobo, as we will see Chewy Hobo come in on the Bowser Jr. later, but the name of the Switch can be deceptive, and I don't want you at home falling for that.
Yeah, but speaking of falling for it, Chris, there's a key flying across the stage. Fire Hydrant connects with a little bit of key as well. Is going to be enough to take Kirby off stage, flying at about 141 stock down as Shenandoah takes the initial lead for this. Kirby sitting back now, despite being in the disadvantage, is wanting Kip to burn the resources at a distance and will get a little bit of combo game, but in return, a Fire Hydrant to the face will continue to rack up percentage.
Yeah, Riku Sakura here for Lebanon Valley, trying to make a statement and take Kip as far as they can. Hydrant lands, racking up some percentage as well, but now, I mean, with basically a full stock deficit and bell setups coming out, neutral getup gets caught, Riku Sakura does not roll, so Kip finds himself up on the platforms now, just buying more time.
Yeah, very good roll read, but it will not pay off. You're not punished for it, though, too much. Instead, we'll find a forward area and back in that situation once again, but calls out the dash attack as Kirby was trying to dash through the bell. Instead, Kip holds on for just a little longer than expected, and that means that another stock will be taken off of Riku Sakura.
Yeah, Kip doing a good job at showing how much patience he can play with, as going for multiple reads, roll reads, dash attack reads, and Kirby's dash attack certainly not the quickest move in the game, so Kip with plenty of time to react, and now a full stock later, starting to rack up percentage all over again. Key comes out, Hydrant connects, and we're back up to 100%, and the bells are coming out once again.
Yeah, this feels like a very different Riku Sakura than what we saw last time, Chris. They are grabbing fruit very aggressively, but it feels like their decisions this time around is not paying off as Kip goes very low off stage. Will try to find a recovery, but Kirby does find the nair. It won't be enough to close out the stock, and now we are back on stage, and Kirby has been struggling to find good opportunities to close it out once they're back on this main stage.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision out of Riku Sakura, I thought, to go for the nair in that opportunity. Kip had one option left to make it back to the stage, and a nair certainly isn't going to kill this Pac-Man, but a back air will find the kill the other direction. Kip walking away with a 3-stock to start this series rematch against Lebanon Valley.
Yeah, again, all the momentum in the world, and the player who last time we saw them was the one who brought that momentum into Shenandoah's favor. Starting things off, gets a 3-stock. You can tell that he's feeling good. It's not, we're not seeing any crazy pop-off, but he has to be feeling all right at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you said it in set 3 last time these two teams played. It was Kip that went on a heck of a run that really set these two teams apart, set the series apart from that point on. And now you have to wonder if Kip really has figured something out about this Lebanon Valley roster. I'm curious, I think you and I both saw something similar. It did just feel like that Kirby was not playing the same like we saw them play last time. What looked different to you?
It was a lot of the smash attacks. They were struggling to find an opportunity to get Kip off stage, and they weren't necessarily going for opportunities to just throw Pac-Man off stage. I feel like that's a lot of what we saw that worked out so well. Yes, Kip will make it back on that Pac-Man, but you are still getting your opponent at that ledge. It limits their options. So to kind of forsake that game plan and play slow, play back, maybe like, oh, maybe I can box with the Pac-Man. We've learned if he's got a Galaga in hand and a fire hydrant between you and him, it's very difficult to get past it. And if you don't have a good, solid understanding of that going in, you're going to get burned.
Absolutely. And now with still plenty of Smash to be played, Lebanon Valley finds himself in a situation where we've only seen them in when SU was taking sets off them. So 9 stocks still left to work with, but a big hill to climb if you're Lebanon Valley. With these options, I believe their second pick last time was Terry. Do you like that, or are you looking at somebody else?
I think it's fine. I also believe that the Bowser Jr. player was the best opportunity to deal with the Pac-Man. So if your goal is to get rid of it, that may be the character that you want to do. Instead, Chris, I have my thoughts. We will see King K. Rool make an appearance early on. Kip has acknowledged to me that there is some goofy stuff that can happen in this matchup that will work in Brett's favor. But for now, it's looking like it's all Pac-Man.
Yeah, Kip with an opportunity to run away. As a couple seconds into this game, we already see why heavies can really struggle both against Pac-Man and just in this game in general, getting stringed all the way up over 100%, and Hydrant's flying across the stage. That's the beauty of heavies, is that he won't go down to that just yet, but the bell connects. He's going into the stage, is able to tech it. Hydrant connects again, and one more tech means that Bread is back to the ledge and back on stage, but Kip, with all the room in the world to work with, connects a bell, finds an up smash, and is now 4 stocks up for Shenandoah.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tall ask for Bread to try and deal with this Pac-Man, but for now, a couple of up tilts into the up airs will get a good juggle game going up against this K. Rool as they just keep eating more and more percent. Keep getting caught on these nair landings, which, I mean, hey, K. Rool's got nice belly armor. Of course you want to go for those nairs like there, and it will work out, but sometimes if your opponent's able to predict it, you could lose your stock incredibly early, and that's not what you want when you're playing the heavyweight.
Yeah, you said it. One of the biggest value points of King K. Rool is that belly armor. You'd like to see him go for a lot of those trades, the nairs, I'm forgetting the dash attack. Perfect example. Right as I was forgetting what moves had that super armor, he shows me one, and that's what it's going to take for Bread here to find much success does go down beneath the stage, and we find ourselves in limbo as Bread does make it back finally, but not before racking up 160% now on his second stock.
Yeah, here comes the crown flying in, but that crown armor will be able to survive the bell. You're caught in the end lag of the crown, though. Even still, which means that Bread may be able to continue racking up some percentage as K-Rool is sitting at 197, goes for a blunderbuss, and the key beats it out, which means that K-Rool will find a very strong up air, but even so is looking for that last hit.
Yeah, Kip coming dangerously close to losing his first stock, but here comes a ton of damage, 61% in the blink of an eye, and Kip's still able to get that shield off, so not dying to the forward air, but he will die to the forward tilt there as Kip loses his first stock, but not before wreaking havoc through this Lebanon Valley roster. Bread now down to his last stock, gets a sour spot forward smash, but it still won't finish. The bell comes out, it gets super armored by the crown, but Kip's still able to finish him off with a forward smash. A very interesting King K. Rool interaction that I can only describe as a King K. Rool interaction to finish that one off.
I cannot believe that he jumped over the crown in just the right spot. So many people get hit by that crown on that get-up option. It's so good, and we saw it a lot from Bread throughout the entire matchup because it's one of K-Rool's best opportunities to get off of ledge. The only downside is that now Kip was able to jump over it, and he was stuck in a lot of end lag, which means Kip had time to charge a forward smash at ledge and close the stock.
Yeah, close the stock he did, and now deja vu is coming to mind here as we find Kip up 11-6 once again. I mean, this is exactly what we saw the last two times these teams played. We're going to keep harkening back to this matchup that has already been played out, and SU came out on top. The one time that it was not the closest, or the biggest gap we ever saw between these two teams was set 3, and it was when this was happening. I don't remember if King K. Rool was the second player. I thought it was Terry, and I could be wrong on that.
I'm confident it was Terry.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Terry. So, Lebanon Valley still opting to make a switch up here, try to catch Kip off guard. It does not pay off for them. And now for Lebanon Valley, what's going through your mind?
I think they wanted to utilize that crown armor a little bit more in those bell situations, because it worked so well in the last series, but now Kip has had the opportunity to go back, VOD review it, and try some stuff, and now he found an answer, which means that, again, talking about what we were discussing initially, you are seeing full momentum in Shenandoah's favor right now. It's going to be on Lebanon Valley to find the opportunity to adapt. What do we need to change going into the series? I'm thinking matchups. I'm thinking you save K-Rool for something else, maybe either Jigglypuff or Yoshi. But I just don't think that was enough of the answer. I think you were going off of the Kirby knowledge initially. Oh, Kirby did well against Pac-Man. They always start Pac-Man, right? It's Shenandoah. Their Pac-Man that starts like 90% of the time. This will be our answer. It didn't work. Oh, well, we had funky, crown interactions with Bell. Maybe that's the answer. Nope, not this time around either. So it's balls in their court right now.
Yeah, and it also worth mentioning, harkening back to the last time these two teams played, this was also when we were educated on the Pac-Man up B out of Buster Wolf.
Oh.
This is when that happened.
Right.
So maybe Lebanon Valley was as rattled by that as we were, seeing that Pac-Man can literally just fall out of otherwise true combos on Terry, trying to avoid that matchup. But here's the thing, right? You're down to, theoretically, Bowser Jr. and one of these other players. Last time it was Terry. We see on their roster, we believe there's a Ridley and a Bowser in there as well. Hard to say whether one of those will get subbed in, but you have to think Bowser Jr. is going to play at some point. Maybe Lebanon Valley really hates this Terry matchup.
I would expect that to be the case, Chris, but as we hop into game, Terry makes an appearance once again. It looks like Chewy Hobo just wants to be saved for that anchor position above all else, and it may come at a pretty expensive cost as Kip is already building percentage up against this Terry.
Yeah, 40% right out the gate as Artemis gets caught dash attacking into Kip's shield. And that's exactly what Pac-Man can do to punish you. Another Galaga comes out. That one goes just wide, but you see the matchup preference. I mean, clearly Kip sees whatever we saw last time. He clearly wanted this matchup, and maybe Lebanon Valley feels the exact opposite. It's hard to say, but keys are landing, and that's good news for Kip as the bell comes out. Goes a little wide. He does catch the dash attack, but can't get the bell off in time. Still, now over 100% go meter online for Artemis here.
Yeah, and the bell on the get up, holding onto the ledge for a little too long, means that forward smash will be able to connect as the stun ends. A beautiful combo from Kip means that he is sitting pretty, dealing even more up against this Terry.
Yeah, now we reset back to this patented Pac-Man low percentage gameplay. Galaga's coming out everywhere. 65% extending off the platform as well and finishing with a back air to get Terry all the way up to 80%. Another hydrant comes down, and here's where the game plan changes. We're landing keys, we're landing hydrants, bells are coming out, and he doesn't even need to confirm it as he caught the jump. Oh man, Artemis still able to make it back, but now 143% go meter online. The power geysers are coming out the wrong direction as Artemis just looking to find anything so far. Kip's still only at 40%, but here we go, Kev.
Yeah, it happens once again, and now he's throwing out Power Geysers, big hitbox out of the blue, but even so is still eating back airs as Kip is dancing around the game plan.
Oh, wow.
And the rising tackle, not the powered version, means that it will be just a little short on the get up as Terry has only built about 27% between the last stock and the one before.
Yeah, disastrous start here for Lebanon Valley as they find themselves down 11-4 stock. Shenandoah with still so much room to work with, and Kip still in the game, not with one stock, but with two stocks still remaining. Air dodges his own hydrant there as Artemis finally starting to land some hits here, getting Kip up to 100%. Now Kip threatening to lose his second stock of this whole series, but finding Galagas is good news for this Pac-Man. Now Terry up to 50%.
Yeah, we do see Trampoline run out. It won't eat that power wave, but Galaga is thrown. A couple of good hits will lead to a little bit more percentage built on this Terry.
Whoa.
As he goes for the spot dodge move, gets a little bit of value out of it. Kip able to recover safely because of the hydrant coverage as bells are charged up once again, and Terry is caught in another trampoline situation. That is getting so much value as the SDI is good enough to get out of the combo, but a rising tackle will connect on Kip.
Yeah, that's something we talked about last week too, how hard it can be to SDI out of jab power dunks, but Kip able to do it the one time he needs, and another 3 stock in the bag. Kip still hanging on to 2 of his own. A disastrous start for Lebanon Valley.
Who is this Pac-Man, Chris? Something changed in Kip 2 that I'm seeing. There is zero fear. He landed on Terry Bogard going for a down tilt. Barely. That down tilt doesn't connect and connects a bell in the face of Terry. Finds the forward smash. We saw that with K-Rule 2 jumping over crowns. I mean, this is a scary Pac-Man.
It certainly is, and you have to wonder, you have to acknowledge that when you're in this state in the series, you're up, 8 stocks, 11-3? I mean, when you have this room to work with, you can get aggressive. You can afford to be borderline reckless in your decision making to try to close this out, and especially if it means sort of suffocating the opponent in their options, right? If you can carry all the momentum in the world, you can get a little crazy jumping over crowns and landing on Terry Bogard, and Kip certainly putting that on display right now.
Right, which means that one player is remaining. If I had to bet, Chewy Hobo is going in on that Patton Morton pick, not going to see the Bowser or the Ridley, and understandably so. This player can very easily find an opportunity to reverse sweep it, but we're talking 11 stocks, Chris. That's a pretty tall ask.
Yeah, that's an alarming line in front of him, especially given who those 11 stocks are on. I mean, this is no gimme whatsoever, but Chewy Hobo certainly one of the players in this league that could do it. So this set is far from over, still Smash to be played, but now Kip is just going to look to make the job easier for the remaining 3 players on this SU squad, right? Every stock you can take off this Bowser Jr. now matters so much more than every other stock that Kip has taken thus far. So with 3 stocks ahead of him, starting to rack up percentage. We already see this matchup a lot closer than any we've seen today.
Yeah, look at how aggressive Chewy Hobo is in this matchup so far. Yes, he's sitting back with those projectiles right now, but even so, throwing out smash attacks, trying to air Kip in the decision-making. It's the pressure of needing to close this out. We talk about needing to play a little reckless in the advantage. Chewy Hobo will need to find openings wherever he can if he wants to secure this series.
Yeah, we see the down tilts coming out. Chewy Hobo starting to lick the fire hydrant as much as he can. But, I mean, something I'm noticing too, Chewy Hobo seems to kind of be struggling to break the hydrant. I've seen him land like 3 or 4 hitboxes on the hydrant, and still the hydrant sits and waits. So Chewy Hobo struggling to find an answer to the hydrant. Pac-Man side B outright beating a Bowser Jr. up B. He does get caught by the bell, but Kip little unprepared for that one. Key comes out, the hydrant goes wide, and we land back on the stage. Both players very high percentages, and Kip goes down, losing his 2nd stock of this entire series.
Yeah, Bowser Jr. can close out stocks pretty quickly, Chris, as we see. One grab into a couple of up tilts will build about 40%. Kip feels the pressure to go back to the ledge, and the drill interaction will close his stock as we see the signature down tilt in the blast.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. He got caught on his trampoline, and it looked like Bowser Jr. was able to take the trampoline away. Kip leaving that game still with a smile on his face, but I'm sure the team maybe at least a little bit rattled after that one. Chewy Hobo able to take 2 and not lose any.
Yeah, 2 times in the past week have we seen Kip's trampoline work against him. Once against a Bayonetta player, and this time around with that Bowser Jr. down air, where Kip was caught going up, and Bowser Jr.'s drill hitbox hit it twice. It had multiple hits, so it wasn't ready for that, but even so, it goes down, and it just sends Kip at the wrong time, if you're a Shenandoah fan, right time if you're a Lebanon Valley, to secure the stock at like 40.
Yeah, I mean, it's interactions like that, it's moments like that that are going to make or break this series if you are Lebanon Valley, right? You'll take whatever you can get, and especially stealing stocks like that is going to make that job just a little bit easier, but still 9 ahead of him if he is to win set 1 here. And now a question falls on Shenandoah, where I think the most success we saw against Chewy Hobo, and I don't remember if he ever won outright or not, but the most success we saw seemed to come from Willie.
It was. When we saw Willie the last time around, one of my favorite call-outs that we saw during that entire series was Willie going up to Bowser Jr., that Morton, going back and forth platform camping on Hollow Bastion, trying to wait out the rage drive, and Willie just dashes up and immediately up-Bs as Morton's going side to side, gets caught and loses the stock for it, loses the game. It was possible for that reversal, but Willie made a very aggressive play call to close it out. I would love to see that now. I don't know if you save Willie, maybe try to keep players cold on that matchup knowledge. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see, but it looks like we will be seeing Willie go in for SU. The decision has been made and officialized. So, Chewy Hobo now with a scary demon on his screen who has now interrupted 2 side Bs, both with a neutral B and an electric. So, maybe a little rattling for Chewy Hobo, struggling to get his game plan established if Kazuya can just break through it like that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Willie has anti-aired people with Electric Wind Godfist, and that's a very, hard thing to do. And now is catching landings as well. One side special into the electric, lands on the platform, goes for the Dragon Fist, but it doesn't stun because Morton was going for the little bounce get up. He was still sitting on the platform. You can't stun off of that spot there.
Interesting interactions so far, but Willie still racking up a ton of percentage, if nothing else. So both of these players now approaching 100%, if not well over it. Chewy Hobo at 147, and you have to think against a Kazuya, it would not take much to send you launching to the blast zone, but now Chewy Hobo going well off stage to try to secure this stock. We know that Kazuya can wait as long as he needs, but he does go down to the up B off the ledge, and Chewy Hobo secures his first.
Yeah, as we do see the down tilt as that grab sends at a gross angle. Chewy Hobo forced to burn the double jump to get back, but instead will eat a laser as the stock count begins to even out.
Yeah, we see Willie going for grabs again. We know that getting grabbed by Kazuya at 0% can be one of the scariest moments in Smash Bros, but so far Willie unable to land a grab or much else as he does find a laser. Goes for a big commitment there off the ledge. Goes a little wide, but Willie goes relatively unpunished from it, as now Chewy Hobo returns back to the side B Bowser Jr. game plan.
Yeah, we do see a couple of Mecha Koopas online using the laser to detonate it early. Willie, I don't believe, has a double jump, which means he will slowly fall into the blast zone as Chewy Hobo's sitting at 18% and has been calling out Willie's attempts for these grabs multiple times, and it's just not working in Willie's favor.
Yeah, Willie feels like he's getting a little too aggressive in a lot of these options. Chewy Hobo able to get the dash attack hitboxes, the get up attack hitboxes, catching Willie off of his own aggression, and it's coming back to bite him as Willie does crouch dash his way in, finds a back air, goes for the laser. It is properly air dodged, and Chewy Hobo able to survive that one, but not before taking 100%. Willie with some room to work with, can't quite find the electric there, but the combo's coming together for Chewy Hobo.
Yeah, we do see a couple of good hits here as the shield poke on the uppie will be able to secure a little bit more percent. The Mecha Koopa pressuring Willie to use the jump as a back tilt will be able to secure one more stock. I do think that Willie may be able to zero to death it, but the percent is starting to build on Willie, which means that that combo game is going to get a lot more difficult. But even so, a very strong up special will be able to secure it, and Chewy Hobo doing what is needed for Lebanon Valley to return this series.
Okay, again, one step at a time for Lebanon Valley. We said it was going to be hard, but the only way to get through it is one player at a time, and that's exactly what Chewy Hobo is doing so far, dismantling the first two players on SU's roster, but that leaves that man on your screen plus one more. Igloo now looks like sitting in the hot seat with a simple task, not simple task against Chewy Hobo, but a simple task on paper of taking one stock off this Bowser Jr.
Yeah, and I'm a little curious if we're going to see the Samus or if we're going to see the Yoshi for this potential matchup. I do remember Igloo not taking a stock against Chewy Hobo when on that Samus the last go-around, but when talking to Igloo afterwards, it was less of a I wasn't confident in the matchup and more of a it was a bad day sort of approach, mindset in it all. So we could see the Samus make an appearance. You are taking only one, but Chewy Hobo definitely has a lot of momentum, and you need to be very aware of that going into this next game.
Yeah, you make a great point, right? I was going to say that last time we saw Igloo in this situation, he did opt for the Samus, and we'll see if he does that again here today. But you're right, it didn't feel as commanding as he may have expected, but, excuse me, maybe you wonder if Yoshi somehow could have looked even worse. And the only person I would trust with that answer is Igloo. So as we load in here, we are getting the answer, and it looks like Igloo will stay on the comfortable dinosaur pick. The Yoshi's coming in, again, tasked with one stock.
Yeah, two characters with pretty strong armor on approach options. Morton using the side special to get that armored approach, but Igloo going to use the double jump for the armored approach. A little bit of comfortability may be enough to close the stock, but for now you got to deal with this Morton as they are already off stage.
Yeah, great damage coming out from Igloo so far. Lots of aerials connecting, but Chewy Hobo can say the same as he's able to find two side Bs, one of them confirming into many aerials. The down air can be so oppressive, but that nair from Yoshi just outright beating Chewy Hobo, now sending him off stage. We return back to center stage, but more Yoshi nairs is a move you can bank on, and Igloo knows that to be well and true.
Yeah, we do see Morton air dodge off stage using the side special to stall just a little bit. I'm expecting to see a potential forward air set up on this Yoshi to close things out, but for now, we do see a neutral B come out instead, trying to catch Chewy Hobo shield, and we have seen a pretty strong shield game come out of Chewy Hobo so far, but it hasn't been enough as the egg is called out, the get-up attack trades, and we return to neutral.
Yeah, and another pattern we've seen out of Igloo in situations like this is very aggressive decision-making when he has stocks to play with. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see Igloo go far off stage to try to secure a stock without losing much if he goes down, but he does get caught by the very tippy top of that forward smash. Chewy Hobo able to find his first on Igloo here, but up to now 100%. Igloo just trying to rack this one up. That one did get dangerous.
Yeah, Chewy Hobo was looking to end it all there as the jab connects and may be able to send Igloo into an awkward spot. The get-up attack doing the same deal as the eggs are being thrown, and we're just trading back and forth trying to build a little bit of percentage as Chewy Hobo tried to call it out.
Yeah, Igloo getting caught by those.
This should KO Chris.
Wow, Bowser Jr. jab is a kill confirmed now. Igloo down to his last stock. Not much success in that second stock for Igloo, but enough to still get Chewy Hobo to a kill percentage. If it's not going to take much, just one of those back airs that Igloo's throwing out, maybe it's an up air. Doesn't matter what, but Chewy Hobo coming dangerously close, and Igloo knows it.
Yeah, as we see the double jump using that armor to get out of that down air, we could have seen a potential combo build of 60 to 70%. Morton still sitting at a solid 143, is going to be able to combo at this point, but it can be a tall ask as a very aggressive up smash will be able to close out this series for Shenandoah starting things off.
Well, I've called him the fixer now a couple times, and I'm going to continue that trend. Igloo going in and taking care of business as he tends to do. Cold-blooded, stone cold, no emotions, able to get the job done as he tends to do for this SU squad, and they take set one, but not before a good scare from Chewy Hobo there.
Yeah, Chewy Hobo has definitely confirmed that they do well under pressure. And while that is the go-to for your anchor in these sorts of positions, I still think that you need to be sending Chewy Hobo in to deal with this Pac-Man, because every time, especially now, two of your go-to answers were dealt with by Kip. Kip just kind of had all the momentum in the world, and while you are a force in and of yourself, it does mean that eventually you need to let your team play against these other characters, otherwise it spells disaster.
Yeah, it absolutely will. And that's, again, we can keep pointing back to the last time these two teams played, and that was more or less the formula. We saw the order was slightly different. It was Willie on his last stock as SU's third player was the one to finish the job against Chewy Hobo in set 3 and take the series. Now, game plan laid out almost exactly how it went last time, and the result did not change. So if you're Lebanon Valley, I agree. I think something's got to give, and it might mean pulling Chewy Hobo up from that anchor position. We'll have to see, but it could also mean SU switching up stuff, trying to anticipate that. I mean, that would be pretty aggressive, but it's on the table.
It's aggressive, and it also boils back to the fact that if you have won your series, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I do strongly believe that it is on the opposing team to make a lot of the changes when going into the second series when it comes to starters and anchors and all of those decisions. If you are trying to play aggressive, understandably so, it's playoff season, but I don't always understand the necessary requirement for it, especially when you have a series lead right now.
Absolutely. And with 4 stocks left in that last set, I mean, you have to think that, yeah, not only did that work, it did work pretty comfortably. I mean, you have to feel good about how that turned out if you are an SU fan. So, you said it, ball's in Lebanon Valley's court. It's going to be a big decision for them as this is their season on the line, right? Best possible placing being third. Both of these teams now out of the running of the big title at the end of the bracket, but lot still at stake. Podium finish for both of these teams. I'm sure they both want it just as much. It's going to be a matter of if Lebanon Valley can make a run here.
Hey, listen, I like the color bronze, all right? It's a nice color, and I want it sitting on my mantle if I can have it. Of course, you want the first place finish. You can be happy with the second, but that's not what it's at stake right now. I want something on that mantle. I want it in the Shenandoah trophy case, just looking nice and pretty. And I'm sure the Smash team wants it too. There's a level of legacy there of just walking in 2-0, finish it strong. No need for this series to look like last time. It speaks to the level of adaptation we have seen from Shenandoah time and time again. I hope that that is just the answer that Shenandoah wants, is to just go in. Business is business. Because a lot of the time when we see Kip take so many stocks, a lot of other players tend to go in, get that playtime. We're at the end of the season, y'all.
Yeah.
I understand you want your playtime, but we can play Elite Smash too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to think outside of this matchup as well. I mean, this is still revenge for Shenandoah. They were able to somewhat avenge themselves on Thursday last week against Cleveland State, but this is their first NECC match since heartbreak against William and Mary. So revenge on the line, third place on the line, and a surprise from SU as they do opt to change the game plan up, maybe a little too rattled by the run Chewy Hobo went on to end set one, and Igloo looking to take care of business the same way Kip did.
Yeah, this is a tall ask from Igloo, because not only are you sending yourself in against Riku Sakura, but you are expecting yourself to do about the same, if not better, than how Kip did the last go-around. We're talking a 3-stock Chris. Kip went in and didn't lose anything, which means that there's a tall order for Igloo starting things off to keep momentum feeling good for Shenandoah, but even so, you can go in with the sort of 2-stock, 3-stock mentality. You just got to be ready for what's ahead.
Oh man, can't be getting caught by stuff like that though. Riku Sakura holding onto the ledge a little too long. We saw it against Pac-Man as well. Igloo noticing patterns and applying them to his own character, finds the forward air spike hitbox and secures that stock. But now up to 100%, Riku Sakura showing a little more signs of life than we saw against the Pac-Man. But you have to think down the line, maybe SU does want the Pac-Man into Chewy Hobo. We saw that matchup went relatively even for the little bits that we saw before Chewy Hobo was able to steal that last stock at low percentage. But now Igloo losing his first stock. Might
Chrissy's
lose
dead.
another one here.
Yeah, that's a very rough spot to be in, but there are those smash attacks that we were expecting to see from Riku Sakura last time, as 2 forward airs will be able to send Kirby flying to the top blast zone, but won't be enough to KO.
Yeah, an uncomfortable start here for the Hornets. An aggressive decision so far, now down 2 stocks, but Igloo right back to form here, securing his second. So now with room to work with at 0%, untouched until now, from those that smash attack sequence we saw at the ledge, securing Igloo's second stock. Can Riku Sakura find a big upset? I mean, this would be a huge moment, a massive window for Lebanon Valley, but gets caught on the ledge again. Igloo noticing patterns, taking care of business, but he did lose 2 stocks there.
And even so, you could kind of see it on Kip's face. You know, Igloo, cool, calm, and collected as always, but Kip even so was like, oh, you do hold on to that ledge for just a little too long, and suddenly there's a dinosaur head flinging itself at you, sending you to the bottom blast zone. A very good matchup for Riku Sakura, just in general, able to sort of capitalize on one good double jump call out and snowball that into an extra stock, because it was looking like it was going to be a 1-stock situation, which, while not the same start as last time, is a pretty good order, especially if Kip is being saved for Chewy Hobo.
Yeah, now Igloo with 1 stock left to work with. We see that Lebanon Valley had a window, couldn't quite get through that window, and now once again on their heels after losing the first matchup. And now, instead of Pac-Man, you've got a 1-stock Yoshi on your doorstep. Do you send in Terry now, who is what we saw the last time these two teams played, but was held in reserve to try to avoid Pac-Man. Do you risk sending Terry in now and risk having Pac-Man be the next player for SU?
I think you do. I think that's definitely a safer call because you are securing the one stock off of the Yoshi and you are pulling the Pac-Man early. I assume the reason why Pac-Man Kip is saved in reserve right now is for Chewy Hobo. It's like a bait. It's your truly fishing line in front of the opposing team saying like, hey, there's a nice Terry Bogard here. It could be yours. 3 stocks in hand, but you have to send Pac-Man in now.
Yeah.
That's a bad trade deal in my mind.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's advantage, in my opinion, is sort of Lebanon Valley right now, even though statistically it is favoring SU. But you have to acknowledge as well, I mean, we saw it on the cameras, the team looks totally fine with that outcome. I mean, we can see when that team is a little shaken up, a little uncomfortable with how things are going. You can usually read it in their faces, but Igloo loses 2 stocks there, we cut to them, and they're all kind of laughing. Like, they could not seem more comfortable with the state of affairs, so maybe they do feel good about this Terry matchup. Maybe Igloo feels good about it, maybe Willie feels good about it, and we don't have to send Pac-Man in. It's hard to say, but it certainly feels like SU feels good sitting out in the arena right now.
Ooh, Chris, you just said the magic words that made me reconsider something. King K. Rool is still on the table. I am assuming Chewy Hobo is going to be in the back, which means that you either have K. Rool or you have this Terry. I expect Terry to go in, but even so, let's say players trade 3 for 3 going forward. That means that you are sending in King K. Rool into Kazuya Mishima. I don't know if you remember this, Chris. When we saw Bowser the last time on this desk, that character got rocked. And K. Rool is not much lighter.
Yeah, big, heavy hitboxes tend to drown against Willie's Kazuya. So, yeah, maybe this is one big setup. Maybe both sides feel like they have one big setup in place, and it's just going to come down to who can come out on top in the end. Hard to say, but it's a little nerve-wracking knowing what Chewy Hobo was able to string together at the end of last set, right? Knowing that that's in reserve and was able to go through almost 3 entire Shenandoah players, I feel less comfortable taking risks and making trades like that if it means that this Bowser Jr. is still waiting in reserves.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to deal with Chewy Hobo in the long run, but for now, it will be on Igloo to secure as many stocks as possible going into the next match, which it does look like we will have our matchup answer. It will be Terry Bogard going in, which, Chris, that's a very scary thing going forward because that means that K. Rool's got to deal with either Puff or Kazuya or the Pack.
Yeah, we will get there theoretically soon. Igloo with only 1 stock to work with here. Artemis now just trying to put that 1 stock away and bring Lebanon Valley to an even stock count for the first time since 12-12 in both sets. Igloo starting to find some damage of his own. Goes for a down smash, but can't quite find it.
I didn't know that tripped, Chris. I did not know that forward air tripped. I am very... it adds a lot of value for what Igloo's going for, but as of right now, the percents are starting to equalize a little bit.
Yeah, we see the auto turnaround there, catching Igloo out of position. Artemis keeping this percentage game very close. In fact, in his favor as he gets caught with another jab power dunk. Won't quite finish the job yet, but we haven't seen Igloo be able to SDI out of those, and he does get caught with a rising tackle at the top of the screen. So Artemis ties the stock count, like I said, for the first time since 12-12.
I think that Terry goes down if that rising tackle doesn't connect. I think Igloo finds a string that sends Terry off stage at like 100 or so to really add to that. That was a very aggressive rising tackle, a very strong one, and I'm pretty happy to see that even with momentum in SU's favor, you're making play calls like that because it works out so well. Now the stock count is even.
Yeah, aggressive decision-making out of SU so far, looking, I don't want to call it unsuccessful yet, but probably not the result that they were expecting. But still trading 3 for 3, not a bad position to be in, as both of these teams now with 3 players left, and SU gets the decision. Who do you send in to deal with this Terry? I mean, you and I saw it on the camera.
Yeah, which looks like Farambus will be making the appearance to deal with Terry Bogard, and I like that call. I do think that Terry has a pretty okay air-to-air game, but I also think that Farambus is very good at sticking in that awkward spot that Terry may not be able to reach without committing to it. He'll have to jump up, go for forward airs, go for nairs, stuff like that, maybe power dunks on get up. I think Farambus can space out the spot dodge attack where Terry puts his elbow up. It would be, I think it's a good call, because also now, if K-Rool is, we're not expecting either Bowser or Ridley, K-Rool will still have to eventually deal with either Pac or Kazuya, and that, I don't want to call it free, but it's a lot of value.
Yeah, and I think I like this decision-making. I think we're seeing why this strategy was implemented for SU, and it's to try to utilize these Farambus stocks that we weren't seeing, right? Farambus was sitting in the back, and I would not say because he's the clutchest, most threatening presence on this roster.
The threatening pink puff.
Right. It's not like we're going to see Farambus go on a run like we see Chewy Hobo go on, but it just made more sense to send in the other players under those circumstances. And then because of that, these Farambus stocks kind of get wasted, just sitting in the back, not being used. So it looks like SU is trying to cook up some sort of strategy to get Farambus involved early, and then use that as cushioning for then the rest of the roster to deal with Chewy Hobo.
And that is very smart, because I think where SU got tripped up a lot last time was trying to deal with Chewy Hobo in the long run. Now, this time around, using Farambus in this spot and trying to get as much value as possible. The matchup, I do think, can go either way, but you will see a ton of value from both sides, and Jigglypuff might be able to secure the stocks before that go meter is even online.
Yeah, big thing to factor in, and Terry's recovery can get a little shaky at times, and especially when you've got a Jigglypuff holding your hand all the way down into free space. I mean, that's certainly not where you'd like to be, but we'll see if Farambus is able to get Artemis there, but it's going to take some time to get there first, as Farambus does catch the wrong side of a jab power dunk to start this off. Now 50% are on Farambus, but another down air connects, and here we go. Farambus off stage can be intimidating. Does find the nair. Not Chewy Hobo, Artemis makes their way back to the ledge, recovers high, power dunks
too low,
down,
Chris.
and that's the type of interaction we're talking about. This is the value that I think SU was trying to draw up.
Yeah, Farambus doing a really good job of keeping the pressure on Artemis so far. It's very important that you are securing these stocks before Terry hits that go percent. Not so much because of the Buster Wolf, but that Power Geyser will prevent Jigglypuff from sitting in that awkward spot that so many characters can't deal with. Instead, you will eat a geyser to the face. So for now, Farambus, playing it a little slow, finds a good hit, and sends Terry immediately off stage. Goes for the forward smash. Again, keeping Terry on the ledge off stage, getting as much value as possible and not much more.
Yeah, how about this from Farambus too, living to 160% so far, really holding on to the stock after a couple blows that could have finished him off, and another smash attack read falls Farambus' way. Now 2 stocks up, Farambus putting on a show so far.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from this puff, Chris. This pink puffball is doing work, and it is looking good in the process. As the dash attack does connect, Jigglypuff 1 frame on stage, next frame in the blast zone. Understandably so, because Farambus was living for so incredibly long, as one more jab power dunk will connect and even out the percentages, but not the stock count.
Yeah, now another thing Farambus likes to do is throw out these pounds when he can see the opponent shielding a lot. He does go for a falling up tilt into a rest. It just barely doesn't confirm, but a lot of percent, if nothing else, as Terry does tick over the 100% mark.
That was a lot of percent, and the power geysers are going the wrong way again, Chris. I'm thinking Artemis is feeling the pressure right now, as Far Rhombus is dancing around this game plan. We do see Artemis looking for the one down tilt and will find a dash attack on the get up, which means we get a 1 stock to 3. Far Rhombus sitting pretty.
How about it? Okay, I don't think SU could have drawn that up going much better. I mean, finding 3 stocks from this Jigglypuff, the Jigglypuff that was sitting in reserves, not finding any value, collecting dust on the shelf, now comes out and slams a Terry 3 stocks to 1. That's a huge deal for SU in the long run, as now, yeah, Jigglypuff has an opportunity to theoretically go into King K. Rool and do a lot of the same.
Yeah, I do think we may see even more value out of Far Rhombus now, even off of that alone. I could not expect the little interactions of that. Terry got hit by the down tilt, or the falling up air, down B, the rest, at like 40, and was put over 100. 2 hits, Chris.
That is insane.
That's like DLC stuff right there. And it's a pink puffball from Smash 1.
Yeah, and not only that, it had enough knockback to make it so that Terry could only punish with a burn knuckle. Like, that really was not... You really hate to see Jigglypuff go for a rest and not get a kill off of it, because that could mean losing your entire stock for that. But in that situation, I mean, it bought enough time that Jigglypuff only gets hit by one thing, and it, does its 15, 20%, whatever, and we go our separate ways. But Jigglypuff walks out, like you said, taking this Terry all the way from 40% over 100%. I mean, that was crazy to watch, and ultimately takes those 3 stocks. But now, up against a King K. Rool, a character with a better recovery than Terry, so we won't see as much gimmicky value as we saw in that first stock. But how do you feel otherwise against that matchup?
I feel pretty good. I think we're going to see a lot more down air combos where it's just drill after drill just over and over, because K. Rool just won't be able to move with that big hitbox. It could also come into play. Yes, K. Rool's recovery is a lot better in a lot of aspects. If Far Rhombus finds an opportunity to send K. Rool off at the right angle, I wouldn't be surprised if Far Rhombus jumps off and tries to get beneath K. Rool, so that when K. Rool tries to go for the propeller pack, Puff is right there throwing out forward airs.
Yeah, does like a Jigglypuff Nair beat King K propeller? Like, do they trade if King K. Rool's recovering straight up?
Usually they trade, but I wouldn't expect crazy value off of it. If you are going to try and deal with that crocodile, I think you do need to be below rather than trying to trade with either Nair or down air.
Fair. Well, we'll see if he's able to get it done, but it does look like Bread will be the next player here for Lebanon Valley as they find themselves in a 2-stock hole. Again, a better situation than they've been in the past, right? We saw Kip go all the way, I believe, 11 stocks to 3 before losing 2 to Chewy Hobo. So Lebanon Valley in a better situation than they were in set 1, but certainly not where you'd like to be overall. They are now down to their 3rd player, and it will be the King K. Rool, so we will see Chewy Hobo come in last, unless Bread is able to take 8 stocks right here.
Yeah, and on top of that, we in Back of House just got to see the stage select. We're going to Town and City, Chris, which will benefit K. Rool for the projectile game, being able to try and zone out this puffball from going for anything too crazy. But for Far Rhombus, that's really close to the blast zone. You can carry K. Rool over there if you find a good hit. So it's kind of a handshake between both sides. Aggressive play calling again, especially when you're behind. But I'm curious to see who walks out on top as we enter this series.
Yeah, we load back in. Far Rhombus will SD once, but now just look for extra credit. Far Rhombus does find his 3 and will look for as much more as he can.
Here we go.
2 shields come out, and just
as
you said, the down air strings coming together. Goes for a falling up air too with the platform right above. Far Rhombus is looking for it all so far.
Yeah, a couple of good down air strings looking for that up air would have been enough to potentially KO K. Rool, but instead K. Rool will be sitting at 80%, sitting at the ledge and looking for an opportunity to reversal. We do see it there, a couple of good hits as he looks for a back air to potentially get this Puff out of the way, but instead is sitting pretty as a couple more crowns are thrown out.
Yeah, the scary thing about this matchup for Faramis is that, yes, while we saw a nice combo come out there with the down airs, it only takes 2 or 3 hits from King K. Rool to really even this out. Shields are getting low. Faramis certainly keeping track of that, but now King K. Rool off stage, and Faramis with an opportunity to capitalize. He will go down, catches the counter from Bread. Faramis goes way lower than Bread was expecting, and ultimately Faramis comes out on top, finds his 4th stock of this set.
And that's what it needed to happen, Chris. You needed to find moments like that where you can just get beneath King K. Rool to find a way to punish the recovery, as now Bread gets Faramis off stage, goes for the blunderbuss, and one quick inhale will be enough to send Puff flying as a different kind of cannonball.
Yeah, okay, so more pounds coming out, trying to weaken this shield from King K. Rool. I'm curious, if a pound lands on his belly armor, does that work the same, or is it just one hit?
It will deal damage accordingly. It won't break the shield. It won't deal nearly as much shield damage. But even so, it could be a lot of value, as we do see K. Rool doing a good job of not sitting in shield too long anymore. Does find a good grab, gets the blunderbuss online, trying to prevent Faramis from landing, but Faramis falling through the platform to get a little bit more value as the dash attack connects on the sour spot. Faramis going all the way down as K. Rool is forced to use that up B to get back on the main stage.
Yeah, both of these characters certainly have strong vertical recoveries, so we'll see both of them make it back to stage, but the percentage really racking up on Bread here. But I mean, like we said earlier, it doesn't take much for Jigglypuff to be at effectively the same kill percentage. So dash attack connects and it just kills outright. That surprises me, but King K. Rool, the heavyweight, not living that.
Yeah, I feel like these dash attacks are getting a lot more value than I've seen them get in the past. We've seen 2 stocks taken off of these dash attacks alone, where players are caught just not shielding in the right spot. A sudden burst option from the Puff will be enough, as K. Rool is throwing out these projectiles, trying to get Faramis to feel the pressure, but instead will eat a pound combo, goes for the crown setup, won't find too much more as Faramis dances around, and a very good parry prevents K. Rool from eating a hearty rest.
Yeah, that was a massive opportunity for Faramis. He saw what all of us saw, but Bread escapes with his life for now, as the up throw just kills off the platform at 130%. So Faramis still walks away with, I believe, 5 stocks in the end, securing multiple off Terry and King K. Rool. That leaves 2 players for SU, and now we will see what looks like Pac-Man go in for SU.
Yeah, kudos to Faramis, because I think we were expecting that matchup to potentially pop back in his face, but even so, he found great opportunities to close stocks against that K. Rool, going off stage again beneath the K. Rool, but also those dash attacks just hitting in the right spot. That pound setup was nasty.
Yeah, and that would have been huge. Now, a rest would not have killed there. He was only at like 20% or whatever. So I do worry that King K. Rool might have been able to come back and then just take the stock outright. But a shield break is a bad thing no matter how you spin it. And wow, a clutch parry in that moment to shake that off from what could have been disastrous for Bread. Ultimately comes out on top. So 4 stocks to 6, SU with a 2-stock lead, and this is where, again, I can't help but think down the line, because Bread has 1 stock, and best case scenario for SU, Kip or Willie, I mean, it looks like it's going to be Kip, goes in, takes this stock without losing 1. You go into Chewy Hobo with 6, and that's less than we had last time, and 2 players that had 2 and 3 stocks respectively against Chewy Hobo that could not come out on top.
Yeah, when we saw Willie go in, I believe Willie took 2 stocks in the process, which was good.
Yes.
And maybe that is why we are seeing that Kip was going into the hot seat, as letting Willie return to that anchor position, and letting Kip just try and deal with the K rule because of how well it went last time. It was one stock off of Kip in exchange for K rule losing the entirety of their setup as K rule goes for a grab onto Kip and will lose the stocks. I don't know. I imagine we're just SDing it. Yep,
Yeah.
because K rule went for a grab too early.
Yeah, we're
K
gonna.
rule went for a grab a little too early on that one. It's a little unfortunate.
It happens. We have absolutely been there multiple times as you forget to SD right when you load in. Totally fine. We'll load back into that game, I'm sure, very quickly. But yeah, so we have the decision in front of us, and I think you're right. Where we saw Willie get 2 stocks off Chewy Hobo, probably feeling like he could have done better, looking back at it and being like, oh, I could have done this differently, could have done this differently. But at the same time, I'm sure Kip felt the same way. Kip didn't get any, but got duped out of his last stock and was not given much of an opportunity to showcase what he can do against Chewy Hobo. So maybe that is the thought process behind this mix-up that we saw out of SU. We'll see if it's enough to pay off with an SU win, but gotta get there first as Bread stands in the way, looking to cause as much chaos as possible before Chewy Hobo comes in.
Yeah, and that double jump call out is going to cause some problems already, Chris. Kip is sitting at 44 off of a couple of good hits, but is returning it in stride. Is able to find a good Galaga to get things rolling, but K. Rool now looking to zone with those crowns and prevent Kip from getting a hydrant setup unless it is right on the head of the crocodile.
Yeah, we see Kip just stringing these forward airs together. These heavy characters can struggle to fall out of Pac-Man combos. That's something we know to be true from watching Kip on this stream so much, but again, you kind of have to think, again, down the line. If Kip loses a stock here, that's pretty bad for SU. The less you have to work with against that Bowser Jr., it does start to get scary. So Kip certainly looking to hold on to this stock if possible. Now getting Bread up to 130%. I have to believe that that's probably Apple territory as well. It goes for a big read on the forward smash. Not enough to finish it off, but you see the key come out. It will get jumped.
Yeah, and at this point, Chris, we're also seeing K. Rool looking for a lot of options that can just outright KO. We've seen nairs and forward airs doing a ton of value as those down airs are coming out as well. We've seen back airs at 80 against this Pac-Man trying to take the stock a little early, but even so, both players are swinging back and forth. K. Rool going for the roll, has to dodge the bell, won't be able to dodge it, instead will eat the up air, but the DI is good enough to hold on as the bell connects on the jump from ledge, and Kip won't lose a stock.
Okay, I mean, I think you saw the emotions that we were feeling on Kip there. A little rattled, a little closer than I'm sure he was expecting, but ultimately, none of it matters if you don't take the stock. So Kip shakes all of that off and takes 3 full, clean, 0% stocks into Chewy Hobo.
And that's exactly what you want. At this point, if you're playing the numbers game, you are expected to take 1 to 2, and you are asking Willie to take 1 to 2. And that's a pretty nice ask from what we have seen, not only in this series, but in the last series a couple of weeks ago. It's not going to be easy, and I still wonder how intricate some of the matchup knowledge may be going forward, because we've seen Chewy Hobo go for some wacky setups, just like the weirdest Mecha Koopa jumping up to you but not hitting anything so that the camera pans away from the Mecha Koopa so that you land on it and then explode. It gets weird.
It absolutely does, but that's kind of where SU seems to thrive, is in these weird character picks of their own. I mean, obviously, just because you play a weird character doesn't make you better at playing against other weird characters, but we are loading into our last match, or potentially last matchup here, last player for Lebanon Valley, and we come in a little bit late here as Kip already up to 80, now 100% so far. A strong start here from Chewy Hobo.
Oh, I think he's dead, Chris. Oh, he's not dead. That was a very dangerous spot to be, as Kip is already eating a ton of percent out the gate. Does find a Galaga throne, goes for the trampoline, gets a little bit of damage going, but I mean, that shield's looking low. He's got to be careful, otherwise he could be eaten even more.
Yeah, he does get grabbed there as the Mecha Koopa comes out, and Kip forced to recover with the trampoline. He does make it back to the ledge, but Chewy Hobo certainly not letting him breathe for very long. Load back in, or fall back to neutral stage, center stage. Kip able to make it back to the ledge again, but not for long. Grabbed once more, and the forward throw can't quite kill. So Kip, once again, similar situation. The up B lands, and you can't tech that one. Chewy Hobo off to a very strong start so far.
Yeah, but now Kip returning it. A couple of good up airs into the nair will add a little bit more percent. I do believe part of the reason why this matchup wasn't working well for Kip out the gate was because Chewy Hobo played so aggressively to start things off. We could see, now that Kip has the time to get a bit of a game plan going, that it could fall back into his favor. But for now, you got to get past these bell returns.
Yeah, Chewy Hobo catches that bell, throws it right back, and does connect, but unable to capitalize like a Pac-Man would. So Chewy Hobo goes up and looks for as much as he can. Key comes out, the hydrant goes flying, but it is air dodged. Chewy Hobo now up to 100%, getting double. Jab locked.
He's not
forward
dead.
smash does not kill. Pac-Man now up to 87%, and a scary recovery here. He does find the trampoline off screen, but Chewy Hobo still maintaining strong control over the stage, as both of these players now over 100%.
Yeah, as we do see, look at how far Chewy Hobo is willing to go off stage, and he steals the platform again, Chris. Another trampoline working against Kip on these recoveries, but a bad landing will mean a bell to the face as a stock is taken off of Chewy Hobo.
All right, 2 to go, and you said it, the pace that needs to be established for SU is 1 to 2 for each of these players. So strictly speaking, Kip's job is done, but you'd like to see a little bit more if you are an SU fan. He does find a jab reset, a jab lock there on the tech chase, but finds more percentage as both of these players continue to trade blows back and forth. The Mecha Koopa projectile game starting to come out as Chewy Hobo, I'm sure, is feeling the pressure to hang on to this stock as long as possible.
Yeah, as we do see, is able to recover, and there's that jab, Chris. A couple of good hits will be able to close out that stock. And Kip, you can tell, wanted a little bit more, had a little bit of momentum going, but for now, it's time to step aside. It is 3 stocks to 2, 2 anchors dueling it out.
Well, yeah, here we are. Similar situation to last time, but a bit more pressure on SU this time around, as Willie does not have the cushion of players behind him this time like he did before. So we will see Willie now loading in, locking into that hot seat, and presumably picks Kazuya. But another thing to consider is that maybe we see a character swap here.
We could. I wouldn't expect it in this sort of situation by nature of how Kazuya works. One good hit and that Morton's flying. Like, we're going to see a Koopa fly, Chris. But on top of that, I believe we did see a character swap last time, and I think Willie's Terry only took 1 against this Bowser Jr. player. And so, just going off the numbers, 1's not going to be enough in this situation. You need the 2, and I think you need a little bit of that Kazuya game plan if you want to get to that point.
Yeah, I think the biggest pattern we saw from last time these two players, met head-to-head was that Willie kept getting caught in his own aggressive tendencies, right? It was a lot of Chewy Hobo able to sort of settle in, play slow, or at least play reactive, and Willie was getting hit by a lot of chip damage until it was too late. So we'll see if Willie is able to make that adaptation with the series, or not series on the line, but the set on the line for sure. Lebanon Valley now with their backs against the wall again. Season on the line, down 0-1 in this series. 3rd place at stake.
Couple of things, Chris. Let's run down what we expect going into this matchup. Thing number 1, FD is not available.
Okay, yeah.
I'm assuming that Willie is going to be given the Hollow Bastion counter pick, and that is comfort pick, but that means we're going to see a repeat of last time. I will expect that Chewy Hobo is going to do some platform camping, just going side to side, by nature of how that clown car works, armoring through certain moves. it's going to be on Willie to find opportunities to get either up there and trade or chase afterwards. So as we hop into game, I'm hoping we see a bit of that adaptation.
Yeah, Willie with an opportunity to put this series away himself, but not after a 70% string out of Chewy Hobo. What a start to this one, as Willie just trying to make it back to stage. Does leap out of his shield there, but he does find a grab. So here we go. This is where Willie gets dangerous, but he does drop that one. 40% in his favor, but is going to have to look for a new combo starter this time around.
Yeah, as we do see a couple of down Bs at the ledge, trying to go for the spike and send Chewy Hobo all the way down. Chewy Hobo will be able to recover this time around. He does find an air, and a jump from the ledge means that he is spiked down. Again, one small mistake is all Kazuya needs to run away with it.
Yeah, okay, certainly not how Chewy Hobo saw that starting, I'm sure, but what looked like a strong start unfortunately falls Willie's way, but not for long, as the forward smash connects at the ledge and Willie loses his first as well. So we return back to the combo game and look at the damage. 60% already onto this Kazuya. Chewy Hobo finding every hitbox he needs to rack this percentage up.
Yeah, here come those side Bs, Chris, able to just use that as a recovery alternative. The side B trades in the face of a jab from Kazuya, as we see a couple more good hits. The back air sending Willie off stage. Willie opting to recover high. Will have to air dodge back to the ledge. The back air doesn't connect, as there comes the kill button. Chris, it will do a solid amount, as Morton's now sitting at 87. Willie looking to trade up high, but will instead eat a side B to the face.
Yeah, big percentage from Willie, but he does get caught by the clown car. So now 87% on this Bowser Jr. and Willie with one stock left. Chewy Hobo with Lebanon Valley season on the line rides the blast zone there, but will not go into it. Will not go into the night just yet, but 110%. It will not take much from Willie as he starts electrocuting over and over, and it works in the end. Chewy Hobo gets caught lacking, caught sleeping, and the third or fourth electric in a row finds Chewy Hobo and sends him to the blast zone.
Chris, when you look up fear in the dictionary, you get the clip that we just saw. Because there was a wall of Kazuya Mishima, Electric Wind Godfist, and we've seen it. Sometimes it beats out the clown car, sometimes it doesn't. And it's just kind of this like 50-50 game. Well, I'm on my last stock. I'm sitting at 100. I don't want a 50-50. Can I get around the 50-50? Nope, you got electric, and now you're dead.
Yeah, and heck of a combo there out of Willie to go. I believe it was electric into back tilt, into electric, into maybe another electric. I don't remember. But one of those electrics ultimately lands, confirms into the up B every time. One of the ways we've seen Willie secure stocks all season long. And ultimately secures third place for SU Smash Bros. In NECC. They do go down to William and Mary in semis, but ultimately beat Lebanon Valley in the rematch 2-0 this time, not dropping a set along the way. So congratulations to SU Smash for a podium finish.
Yeah, beautiful stuff all around, and truly, I think we just saw the difference between why you want armor and why you want invincibility. Because invincibility allows you to do that. And it means that, again, Shenandoah walks away with this series a very strong 2-0 from what we saw last time. The 2-1 was a scary sort of time where both sides didn't really know what was going to happen. But now, Shenandoah showing their level of adaptation, keeping things going. Beautiful performance.
Yeah, and Willie's still the problem for Lebanon Valley that they just can't find a way around. We saw it in set 3 last time that Willie with his last stock took out Chewy Hobo. This time around, Willie with his last stock takes out Chewy Hobo. So Lebanon Valley just struggling to get over that hump, but still looking very good along the way. Chewy Hobo certainly giving this team a scare. I feel no shame in saying that, and I'm not on the team, but we do have one of the stars of our series standing by with Ben out in the arena. We're dying to hear how he feels. So Ben, take it away.
Dude, that felt like so much easier. Hello. I am standing by with Kip here for the interview. It was a very, very one-sided match here tonight, unlike what we had earlier on in the semester. So what was it like kind of bouncing back with a clean 2-0 against LVC?
First game, it felt really great, just trying to get that momentum that we really like as a team. And game 2 is a lot closer, right? Chugihoba is such a good player. We tried something different in hopes that, like, when we played them last time during our pools in NECC, we had the idea of trying to force out the Bowser Jr. That's kind of what happened in game 3. I took out both their Kirby and their K-Rule game 3 and kind of just had the idea of, if they are so scared of me, like, I don't know, like having a really big lead, setting a big lead for my team, we might try to start Igloo, because Igloo is a pretty good counter pick into the Bowser Jr. as well. Didn't quite work out as well as we hoped, but we still got some mileage off of it. Faram was putting in some work around the middle part of that game too, but yeah, I thought it was still well played from the team.
Yeah, no, and speaking of that set too, right, you mentioned Faram already. I want to get your kind of insight on what was going down with David here today. I mean, he went crazy. 5 huge stocks that really propelled you guys in that second set.
Right, so Jigglypuff as a character is so volatile, and lately Farm Rhombus has been gotten the luckiest with, like, in terms of like matchups, because when we play Willie Mary, a lot of those matchups, none of those matches really favor Jigglypuff at all, and same thing with when we play Cleveland State. But for this case, Terry and K-Rool, those are actual matchups that Jigglypuff can kind of play into, because Terry, you can edge guard him, and K-Rool is just so massive, and you can also edge guard him as well. So it felt really good for David to be able to, like, have the chance of, like, put in some work, because we know we can put in the work. It's just a matter of like the scenarios that lead up to it.
No, for sure. The scenarios, the stars certainly aligned here for David today, but they also aligned a little bit for you in that first series that we saw here against LVC, going, I believe, 6 stocks in a row that you took, 6-5 around that mark, I believe, is what you took in the first set.
9?
No, well, yeah, I think it was 9, actually. I think you took a lot more than I just said. So how did you keep that momentum going in that first series to really kind of ice it early on?
I was just trying to play to force out the Bowser Jr. I thought me taking 3 off the Kirby without losing 1 was a massive momentum shift for us, because I remember all the other times I would play the Kirby, I would at least lose like 1 or 2 stocks. So me holding on to all my stocks there was a really big momentum shift for us. And I was kind of like, okay, now they send in Bowser Jr. and I'd see what I would do versus him. And they didn't do that either. So I just kind of kept trying to play to force him out.
Oh, for sure. Force them out, you did, and snuff them out, you did as well. Congratulations on the clean 2-0 here tonight. I'm going to toss it back to the casters to wrap it up. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ben and Kyle. Congratulations to Kip and the rest of the SU Smash squad, making a heck of a statement here tonight, winning their rematch against Lebanon Valley and securing 3rd place in NECC.
Yeah, a very strong performance, and again, bringing home the fact that it was a 2-0 this time around. You could have had a series close. You could have had it be that nail-biter. But frankly, you're here to make a statement. You're here to prove why you want this 3rd place this time around. And I do believe that Shenandoah made that point abundantly clear with a couple of nice adaptations and making sure that the character preferences were working more in their favor. It all snowballed so great. And I'm so happy for the team.
Yeah, still very proud of these guys, but they are not done. As we mentioned early on in the stream, this will do it for their NECC run, but they've got a big one on Thursday coming up against Winthrop. You won't want to miss that, so be sure to drop a follow on whatever platform you're watching on right now so you don't miss out on any of our action. A strong start here to our 3rd week of playoff action here, but that will do it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Chris Clayton. He's Kevin Clayton. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might just change their life, and we will see you next time.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the esports arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry, so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth, where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the esports arena is the esports war room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.
Apologies. Anyway, I am super excited for this run back, Chris, because we're talking about a team that took a round off of Shenandoah the last time we saw them. So now we're going to see as much adaptation as possible, a lot of mind game, and just a whole new level of understanding when it comes to all.
But we have to just know that going into this, like, we have to do as best we can. We've already won against this team before, but we have to just make sure that we don't get into our heads that we got this for sure. Like, we gotta get prepared. Like, it's like we're fighting for the first time.
Oh, for sure. Well, hey, good luck. Thank you so much for the interview. I'm going to toss it back.
Serious statistics behind them. SU with an undefeated regular season in NECC. Lebanon Valley with an almost undefeated regular season. The only loss coming to Shenandoah. And you see that one blemish on the left side of your screen as well in the game records. That one is Lebanon Valley. So that's Chewy Hobo, as we will see Chewy Hobo come in on the Bowser Jr. later. But the name of the switch can be deceptive, and I don't want you at home falling for that one more time.
Yeah, very good roll read, but it will not pay off. You're not punished for it, though, too much. Instead, we'll find a forward area and back in that situation once again, but calls out the dash.
I thought to go for the Nair in that opportunity. Kip had one option left to make it back to the stage, and a Nair certainly isn't going to kill this Pac-Man, but a back air will find, is able to tech it. Hydrant connects again, and one more tech means that Bread is back to the ledge and back on stage, but Kip with all the room in the world.
Flag in the crown, though, even still, which means that Bread may be able to continue racking up some percentage, as K-Roll is sitting at 197. Goes for
losing his first stock, but here comes a ton of damage, 61% in the blink of an eye. Kip's still able to get that shield off, so not dying to the forward air. Havoc through this Lebanon Valley roster. Bread now down to his last stock. It's a sour spot forward smash, but it still won't finish. The bell comes out. It gets a little wide. He does catch the dash attack, but can't get the bell off in time. Still now over 100% go meter online for Artemis here.
Yeah, and the bend, and now he's throwing out Power Geyser's big hitbox out of the blue, but even so is still eating back airs as Kip is dancing around the game plan. And the Rising is good enough to get out of the combo, but a Rising tackle will connect on Kip.
Yeah, that's something we talked about last week too, how hard it can be to SDI out of Jab Jab Power. Junior upbeat does get caught by the bell, but Kip a little unprepared for that one. He comes out, the hydrant goes wide, and we land back on the stage. Both players.
And Bowser Jr. can close out stocks pretty quickly, Chris, as we see a one grab and a couple of uploads will build about 40%. Kip feels the pressure to go back to the ledge, and
to send you launching to the blast zone, but now Chewy Hobo going well off stage to try to secure this stock. We know that Kazuya can wait as long as he do the up B off the ledge, and Chewy Hobo secures his burst.
As we do see the down tilt as that grab sets out a
Bowser Jr. game plan.
See, online, use the the laser to detonate it early. Willie, I don't believe, has a double jump, which means he will slowly fall. Yeah, we do see a couple of good hits here as the shield poke on the uppie will be able to secure a little bit more percent. The Mecha Koopa pressuring Willie to use the jump as a secure one more stock. I do think that Willie may be able to zero to death it, but the percent is starting to build on Willie, which means that combo game is going to get a lot more difficult. But even so,
very aggressive decision making when he has stocks to play with. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see Igloo go far off stage.
A little bit of percentage as Chewy Hobo tried to call it out.
Yeah, Igloo getting caught by those.
This should fail, Chris. Wow, Horton still sitting at a solid 143. Is going to be able to combo at this point, but it can be a tall ask as a very aggressive up smash will be able to close out this series for Shenandoah. It's feeling good for Shenandoah, but even so, you can go in with the sort of 2-stock, 3-stock mentality. You just got to be ready for what's ahead.
Oh, man, but you have to think down the line. Maybe SU does want the Pac-Man into Chewy Hobo. We saw that matchup went relatively even. We saw before Chewy Hobo was able to steal that last stock at low percentage, but now Igloo losing his first stock. Oh, might lose another one here.
Top blast zone, but won't be enough to KO.
And a comfortable start here for the Hornets. An aggressive decision so far, now down 2 stocks, but Igloo here in Igloo's second stock. Can Riku Sakura find a big upset? I mean, this would be a huge moment, a massive window for Lebanon Valley, but gets caught on his game very close. In fact, in his favor, as he gets caught with another jab, power dunk. Won't quite finish the job yet, but we haven't seen Igloo be able to be intimidating. Does find the Nair. Not Chewy Hobo, Artemis makes their way back to the ledge, recovers high, power dunks
too low,
down,
Chris.
and that's
As much value as possible and not much more.
yeah, how about this from Farambas too, living to 160% so far, really holding on to the stock after a couple blows that go far.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from this puff, Chris. This pink puff ball is doing work, and it is looking good in the process as the dash attack, as Farambas is dancing around this game plan. We do see Artemis look for the one down tilt and will find a dash attack on the get up, which means we get a 1-stock to 3. Farambas sitting pretty.
Farambas certainly keeping track of that. Now PK Rule off stage, and Farambas with an opportunity to capitalize. He will go down,
Catches just beneath PK Rule to find a way to punish the recovery, as now Fred gets Farambas off stage, goes for the blunderbuss.
Wow. I mean, like we said earlier, it doesn't take much for Jigglypuff to be at effectively the same kill percentage. So dash attack connects, and it just was a massive opportunity for Farambas. He saw what all of us saw, but Fred escapes with his life for now as the up throw just kills off the platform at 130.
And so both players are swinging back and forth. K-Roll going for the roll, has to dodge the bell, won't be able to dodge it. Instead, will eat the up air, but the DI is good enough to hold on as the bell
To the ledge again, but not for long. Grab once more, and the forward throw can't quite kill. So Kip once again, similar situation. The up B landing control over the stage as both of these players now over 100%.
Yeah, as we do see, look at how far Chiobo is willing to go off stage, and he steals the plat, working against Kip on these recoveries, but a bad landing will mean a bell to the face as a stopper.
I'm sure is feeling the pressure to hang on to this stock as long as possible.
Yeah, as we do see, he is able to recover, and there's that jab, Chris. A couple of good hits will be able to. Yeah, as we do see a couple of down trees at the ledge, trying to go for the spike and send Chewy Hobo all the way down. Chewy Hobo will be able to recover this time around. He does find an air. One small mistake is all Kazuya needs to run away with it.
Yeah, okay, certainly not how Chewy Hobo saw that starting, I'm sure, but what looked like a strong start.
At 87, Willie looking to trade up high, but will instead eat a side B to the face.
Yeah, big percentage from the blast zone there, but will not go into it. Will not go into the night just yet, but 110%. It will not take much from Willie as he starts electrocuting over and over, and it works in the end. Chewy Hobo gets caught lacking, caught sleeping, and the electric, the third or fourth electric in a row, finds Chewy Hobo and sends him to the blast zone.
I was trying to play to force out the Bowser Jr., I thought me taking 3 off the current without losing 1 was a massive momentum shift for us, because I remember all the other times I would play the Kirby, I would at least lose like 1 or 2 stocks. So me holding on to all my stocks there was a really big momentum shift for us.
That it was a 2-0 this time around. You could have had a series close, you could have had it be that nail biter, but frankly, you're here to make a statement. You're here to prove why you want this 3rd place this time around, and I do believe that Shenandoah made that point abundantly clear with a couple of nice adaptations